inconceivable that anybody other than the regime used it. What that does, I think, is change the international dynamic. I think it changes international opinion on this issue. But I am also committed to saying, can we resolve this diplomatically?
If it fails?
And well, I'm not going to prejudge the situation.
If Assad does comply with the ban, is it better for him to stay in power for the region and not risk chaos that has erupted in Libya or Egypt?
I don't think that anybody in the world community should accept the notion that somebody who kills tens of thousands of his own people, including children, women, defenseless civilians, is the preferable ruler of any country.
President Obama speaking with Telemundo this week. Where does U.S. policy stand in regards to Syria as we wait for this Russian proposal and what happens with it? More with our panel. Steve, what about what the president said there? Asked if it fails, and he didn't want to prejudge the situation.
Well, I think the president didn't want to prejudge the situation because, once again, he's not thinking forward. This is, as we've commented many times, and people from across the political spectrum, the ideological spectrum, have said about the president, this is ad hoc policy making with respect to Syria. There hasn't been a policy for 2.5 years. They're playing it by ear as we move along right now. I think the administration is just happy to be out of the box that the president put himself in politically, internationally, with his comments on the red line, with the fact that he hadn't made decisions before. So it doesn't surprise me at all that the president would say he doesn't want to prejudge outcomes at this point, because he doesn't have, there's no plan, there's no strategy.
James, the president at the end there said it would be preferable for the ruler of that country to leave, to not be in charge. He has said previously, a year ago, Assad must go, and there must be a change. Now he's not really saying that.
I don't think that's particularly evidence of a shift in policy here. I think they do want Assad to go. But the fact is that this now ambitious, daunting, but supposedly doable timetable of 9 months by which to destroy completely, assuming full Syrian government cooperation, their chemical weapons stockpile, does bind the Obama administration and the allies to Bashar al-Assad. They cannot afford, in the middle of that process, for Assad to be toppled or to voluntarily step down and have some kind of chaotic situation where the government there, which has control of the stockpiles that are to be destroyed, is in flux. Secretary Kerry and his aides won't admit that. They say that these things are proceeding on different tracks, but I think the falsity of that can be seen by pretty much all reasonable observers.
Meantime, two people who have a lot of credibility in this issue, two former defense secretaries speaking out about U.S. policy from the beginning, Leon Panetta and Bob Gates. Take a listen to this.
When the President of the United States draws a red line, the credibility of this country is dependent on him backing up his word. When we draw a line and we give our word, damn it, we back it up.
My bottom line is that I believe to blow a bunch of stuff up over a couple of days to underscore or validate a point or a principle is not a strategy. Frankly, anything embraced by Vladimir Putin and Bashar Assad fills me with skepticism. Somebody asked the president the other day, do you trust Putin? My answer would be, are you kidding me?
It's pretty strong, Juan.
Yeah, I think it's totally logical. I think he's exactly right. I mean, why would anybody trust Putin? It's just, I think you'd have to be one of those people like Charlie Brown who keeps having the football pulled away from you.
Or Assad.
It just doesn't make sense. I mean, the only thing that, is interesting in thinking about what Assad is doing here, that this is the second time he's given an interview to an American outlet. And he said in this interview that he thought President Obama should trust the common sense of his citizens, the American people. So I think Assad is very aware of the power of public opinion in terms of influencing the Obama administration's policy and in some sense constraining that policy, and he is appealing directly to the American people in what I consider a very devious manner But, you know, it's smart, I guess, on one level. He's saying, guess what? I'm playing to the audience here. And his play to the audience is this also, you got to realize, include the Congress. Dennis Kucinich, as a former congressman, knew Bashar al-Assad. That's how he got this interview. And he is counting, I think, Assad on the idea that Congress will respond more to him as a voice, speaking to a former congressman, and again, constrain the Obama administration's efforts.
I mean, you're right about using this a couple of times. In the interview with Charlie Rose on CBS, before all this deal came about, he referenced Gallup polls a number of times. Charles, about the former defense secretaries.
I think those are utterly devastating criticisms of the president. And they were hardly disguised. Essentially what Gates is saying, the president's original strategy of an airstrike over, and a pinprick airstrike over anything, but as abstract as an international norm, is a joke. It's not a strategy. That's number one. Secondly, he said, and between the lines, you know, I wouldn't trust Putin or Assad in any way. What he's saying is that the deal that has been cooked up is a farce. Then you got Panetta saying in almost an angry tone, if you draw a red line, you have to do something, implying the president did nothing. He's sort of hiding under this agreement. When you look at Panetta and Gates, who were in the administration in the first term, you say to yourself, if these guys who are grown-ups had been in the room over the last month of this pathetic, zigzag, ambivalent, and catastrophic diplomacy, it wouldn't have happened. And the problem is that Obama is such a narcissist that he surrounds himself with people who aren't of stature of a Gates or a Panetta, and that's why he is where he is.
They both work for him, Charles?
Not now.
No, I'm saying you say he doesn't surround himself with people of his stature. They work for President Obama.
In the first term, when he came in as an amateur and outsider, he had all kinds of people of stature. He gets reelected. He decides, I know everything. There's nobody in the room who would tell him exactly what Panetta and Gates have told him. Had we had that, the farce that we've seen over the last month would not have happened.
Another strong letter to follow. More with the panel. Final thoughts after a break.